Today, we're diving into a real revolution in how we get things done. It's about a massive shift from this old, rigid way of working to something much more flexible, much more like a natural stream.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been on a project, months in, with this huge, detailed plan, and you just get that sinking feeling in your stomach that you're building something nobody's actually going to want? Yeah, we've all been there. And for a long, long time, that was just kind of an accepted risk.
All right, so to really get the solution, we have to understand the problem. And for decades, the problem was a method that, sounds pretty peaceful, but in reality, it's anything but flexible.
It's called the waterfall method, and it works exactly like it sounds. The flow is strictly one way, downhill. You do all the planning and requirements up front, then you design the entire thing, then you build it, then you test it, and only at the very, very end do you actually release it. And the key rule is, each step has to be totally 100% finished before you can even think about the next.
You can probably see the problem here. This whole one-way street is just incredibly slow. You're basically working in a bubble for months, and by the time you finally show it to a real user, guess what? Their needs have changed, the market has shifted, and you're stuck holding a product that's already out of date. And trying to go back and fix something? Good luck. It's like trying to make a waterfall flow uphill. It just doesn't work.
So, if the waterfall's the problem, what's the solution? Well, back in 2001, a group of 17 software developers got together, and they hammered out a philosophy that was about to change everything.
This is a little piece of the manifesto for agile software development, and honestly, it was a total game changer. The most important line is right there, valuing individuals and interactions over processes and tools. It was a conscious choice to focus on people, on collaboration, and on being able to adapt, instead of just blindly following a rigid plan. So the big question is, does it actually work? Well, the data is pretty shocking. When you put these two approaches head-to-head, projects that use an agile approach are more than 3 times as likely to succeed.
And here are the hard numbers to prove it. This data from the Standish Group is just stunning. Agile projects succeed a whopping 42% of the time. Waterfall, just 13%. And maybe even more important, waterfall projects fail more than twice as often. I mean, the proof really is in the pudding.
Okay, so we know why Agile is so much better, but what does it actually look like day to day? How do you put this big idea into practice? Let's take a look.
Now, it's really important to get this straight. Agile itself isn't a strict set of rules. It's a mindset, a philosophy. To actually do Agile, teams usually use specific frameworks, and 2 of the most popular ones out there are Scrum and Kanban.
Scrum uses a pretty great metaphor, a rugby team. The whole team works together in these short, super focused bursts called sprints, which usually last between 1 and 4 weeks. The whole point is to have a small, usable piece of the project done by the end of every single sprint. It's all about making steady progress and getting feedback constantly.
Kanban is a little different. It's all about making your work visible. It actually got its start on the factory floors at Toyota. You have a board with columns like to do, in progress, and done. The work, usually on little cards, moves from left to right. This way, everybody can see what's being worked on, what's next, and, crucially, where things are getting stuck. So, which one do you pick? Well, it really depends on what your team needs. Scrum is all about those fixed sprints, and it measures velocity, basically how much stuff you can get done in one sprint. That makes it awesome for projects with really clear deadlines. Kanban, on the other hand, is a continuous flow. It measures cycle time, how long it takes one task to go from start to finish. This makes it perfect for teams where priorities might change really fast.
All right, so you've picked a framework, but how in the world do you take some massive, year-long goal and break it down into tiny pieces you can finish in, say, a 2-week sprint?
Well, Agile has a system for that too. It gives you this really clear hierarchy that connects the biggest, most ambitious company goals all the way down to the tiny tasks someone works on a Tuesday afternoon. It makes sure that everything you do every single day is pushing that bigger goal forward. So let's look at the 3 main levels. Way up at the top, you have the initiative. That's the big dream, right? Like improve user satisfaction. But you can't just do that, so you break it down into epics. An epic is a big chunk of work, like redesign the feedback feature. And then you break that epic down even further into user stories, which are small, specific tasks the team can actually finish in a single sprint. And this, right here, is one of the most powerful tools in the entire Agile toolkit. A user story forces you to write every task from the user's point of view. It follows this simple format. As a type of user, I want to do some action so that I get this benefit. It's brilliant because it constantly reminds the team why they're building something. It makes sure every little feature delivers real, actual value to a real person. So, we've gone through the frameworks and the structures, but the true revolution of Agile isn't really about sprints or Kanban boards. It goes deeper than that. It's about a whole new way of thinking.
Because at the end of the day, Agile is a mindset. It's a belief in collaboration. It's a relentless focus on delivering things that actually work over and over again. It's about seeing change not as a threat, but as an opportunity. And it's a commitment to always getting better, and most importantly, to always keeping the user at the very center of the universe.
This way of thinking completely transformed the software industry. It took it from being one of the most unpredictable businesses out there to one of the most innovative. And that just begs the question, right? If this mindset can do all of that for lines of code, what could it do for your work, for your team, or even for the projects in your own life?